In over 3 decades, I've learned that truly great car dealerships are only great because of one thing: leadership. So I'm sitting down with the great men and women inspiring automotive on Tim Talks, automotive leadership and beyond. Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of Tim Talks Leadership and Beyond. And this one I think is going to be pretty fun. You know, there are certain people that you meet. You know, I say it all the time at leadership. You know, what is it like on the other side of you? And I will tell you that what it's like on the other side of my guest today is pretty freaking fun. So she probably doesn't need an introduction, but she's got an incredible story, and she's always doing the interviewing. And I wanted to take a few minutes and interview her. And I would love, and in fact, it goes in line with just the incredible women that are in and that are rising up in automotive, and it's extremely exciting to see. So without further ado, the one, the only, Brooke Air Jordan Furniss. How are you? How are you?
Yay! I'm doing amazing now. I mean, I'm just going to bring you around. You can be my hype man wherever I go. I'm good with this. Like, I'll just pay you on the side. Don't worry about it. Thanks,
Not
buddy.
a problem.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem. It's like the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, back in the 70s or 80s when he's like, oh, don't mind them. It's my theme music. And they followed him around everywhere. Yeah, I could do that. I could do
okay
that.
with this. I don't see anything wrong with this, by the way. I'm all for it.
Awesome. I think, well, again, thank you. I know your schedule's like my schedule, your planes, trains, and automobiles, but I just wanted to thank you for taking a few minutes. I know we're buddies and we always have a good time, and your story is pretty cool. So let's just wrap. You know, we try to keep these under 30 minutes. Is that the commute time? You know, but I want people to hear your story because I'm interested. In fact, I don't know, maybe we've had that conversation, but how did you get in automotive? Let's start there. I mean, yes, this is a leadership podcast. We're going to get to that, but I want to know your story of what brought you to here, because quite frankly, no matter what conference you go to now, you know, people are saying, where's Brooke? Like, it's not, but it's in a good way, not like where's Waldo, but where's Brooke? I mean, seriously, like it doesn't matter. Digital dealer, NADA, every patch, like all of them. So I'm going to sit back and get my popcorn and fill me in a little bit there.
Yeah. So I like most, I fell into the industry. My background is actually in the medical field. So I was working as an athletic trainer. For people who don't know what that is, when you see someone get injured on a field, the first person to run out, that's the athletic trainer. So I did that in physical therapy, worked at a couple colleges then, and I was in the training room. For anyone that knows me, I've broken and torn just a few things in my body. Mm-hmm. So I was rehabbing from a knee surgery, and someone came and go, hey, have you heard back from Nike? For those that don't know, I have a bit of an Air Jordan problem here. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't heard back from Nike, and I was going to go design shoes for them. And she goes, hey, I've got this gig over in Japan with this Broadway show called Blast. I was like, sure. I'm like 21, 22. I was like, I got to go live over in Japan for a year. Yeah, sign me up. I'm all in. So I did the athletic training thing for some time. And then in 2008, we all know the world completely collapsed. And mm-hmm. I'd had a very, very serious surgery. It's called a corneal transplant. And what that is, the cornea is the windshield of your eye. And not to get super graphic on that, when I did that, though, I was out of work for a year. And my buddy, who I knew him for a bit, he goes, hey, my old college roommate started some CRM company. And this is like 2009. I don't know what a CRM is. Like, sure. He's like, I know you love cars more than anyone I know. And I know you love traveling. You should give this a shot. So like most people, I was like, all right, I need money. I've not worked in a year. I got some nice medical debt going on right now. I'll take the job for just 1 year. And that was 2009. So I went from there. And then after that, my younger brother and I started a company.
Whoa. What was the CRM company?
Oh, DealerSocket. So John Gord was his college roommate. Yeah.
Got it.
So we did that. And then I've been really blessed to sit in a lot of different seats. My brother and I started a software company in the body shop world. And then from there, I'm trying to go back here for a hot second. I've sat in about every seat, done on the vendor side. I've been on the OEM side. I've been in the dealership, obviously on the body shop portion of it. So like I said, it's been a little bit everywhere. And then how I got here is when I was in the dealership, I got so tired, Tim, of people coming in and they're like, oh, you're crushing it, Brooke. I'm like, no, we're not. Mm-hmm. No, everyone's down. Like you're saying we're up 10% and you want us to spend more money, but none of the data that we own shows that. But every single month they would come in and I just go, I don't want to sell software. I don't want to pitch advertising. That's not what I want to do. And there are some great partners out there and I love them for that. For me, I want to give the dealer a voice. I want them to be able to say, hey, I now am educated enough to have that conversation with the vendor partner about XYZ. And so holding people accountable, going through, we are product agnostic. We do not sell anything. And because we did, I couldn't be product agnostic. And that's really why it came down to, I just got so tired of being in the dealership and having not everyone, a lot of people come in and just continue to tell the dealership, myself, to spend more money when I knew we were down. And that's how we came about to where I am now. So there you go.
That's kind of funny because it's very similar to why we did, at least service our dealers with our company Corneal, because not to mention any names, I give the same story and you might have heard it over and over and over again. Vendors would come into my office and, wow, you crushed it last month. How did I crush it with this many unique visitors? How many freaking cars did I sell? That's why we tell everybody, look at your own source report in your CRM. Yes, vendors provide great data. We provide great data. But if it's not moving the needle and servicing and selling more cars, then what are we freaking doing? I mean, seriously, it's just that simple. Awesome. I mean, you have the ability, you have not only the ability, but you get your chance to work with some of the best minds in the space. And I particularly, am one of your biggest cheerleaders because I gave a talk years ago and it was facts, not feelings. And that was one of the sweetest conversations I've ever heard in my life. And it's not like I owned it. And you called me and said, do you mind if I this just hit me and can I use it? And I'm like, well, of course. So, occasionally you'll give me some cool swag and I could never be more proud of what you've done with that, better than I could have ever done. And you've just absolutely crushed it. But it's so true. Give me the facts. It's like the old Dragnet. Give me the facts, ma'am, just the facts and not the freaking feelings. So what have you seen being able, just that tagline says so much about what you do. What are you seeing and where do you see automotive based on that with all the hype out there, whether it's AI or, there's a lot of good companies out there, but where do you see the facts going instead of the feelings as far as state of automotive right now?
It's a very good question. Not that I'm surprised, but it was a very good question. I was talking to a friend just the other day about this, that there are a lot of feelings about where things are, where it's going to go, or AI this. And it's like, you know what? I'm very much a data-driven person. So if the data supports it, I'm all for it. Mm-hmm. So when I look at some of the claims of whether it's the AI portion, you can sit there and claim a lot of stuff. Maybe, just maybe, look internally, because if I have numerous clients who are not having the same problems that you're claiming, whether it's AI or whatever, look at the data. The data doesn't suggest that. So maybe, just maybe internally, your company, your process, that's what's broken. Don't go blaming on other stuff. But I'm seeing just a massive rise in everyone having their own, all of a sudden everyone's this expert on whether it's AI or data hygiene or blah, 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 any buzzword, yet they don't really know what they're talking about. But they're going to throw those terms around. Or even if we'll go back to AI, is it true AI? Is it just an LLM? Is it just a if then what? If you're looking at all the other things, or the other thing, like I literally right before we hopped on this call, I'm helping a new client out and yet another, and this is not a vendor partner. This is a vendor. When a vendor says you cannot have access to your own data, why? Tim, it's taken me a lot of self-control right now not to drop some Brooke words right now. When they tell you cannot have your own data, you cannot have access to it, you have to look at their pretty little dashboard. What are we doing? That is your data. So all these buzzwords out there, then the facts show that if I don't have access to my own data and I have to look at your report, something is wrong. I will tell you, I have yet to be proven wrong on this. Every single time there is something that they're hiding something. And if they tell you it's a proprietary dashboard, it's the secret sauce, it's whatever the heck they want to say, there's a reason why they're doing that. And it's too valuable a time right now with everything that's changing so quickly, going back to the AI, going back to the data hygiene, all these different things to say, am I truly able to inspect what I expect out of whatever it's going to be? And those are like, I can't believe I'm continually having this conversation of why don't we have access to this? Why are we not truly serving the client? So we can talk about the other things, but at the end of the day, like, let's just start with basic. Do you own your own data? And then from there, look at the other things and stop blaming people for your inadequacies, whether that's on any level.
Look, I love it because you can say things that I can't say. I mean, I'm just telling you, and I tell our team, you better never. You can give people facts, not feelings. You can show them data. You can go to their own close report, but we're never, ever going to talk bad. We're never going to name companies by name. We're never going to, I just think that's the right way to do business, and let your merit and let your, your how you perform speak over pizzazz. In fact, we were just on CBT News, just shot something, in fact, last week, and that was the title, Performance Over Pizzazz. So I love that you can say that, and at the end of the day, there is a lot of shiny objects, and a lot of them are good, and a lot of them just need tweaking. A lot of them need, we're building, we talked about AI, but we're launching some pretty cool stuff for NADA, but at the end of the day, it's about selling cars, and if you're not moving the needle, it's literally that simple. Let's transition a little bit. You get to work with some of and here's where you can name drop because they might feel good about it or don't. So in leadership, you get to spend a lot of time, hands-on, elbow to elbow with a lot of great leaders. What is, and maybe not a single person, but what is a common denominator? I've got my ideas. They've been shared on here before, but what is a common denominator that you see in a lot of the incredible operators that run their dealerships and their business as well? Is there a trait? Is there a story like and ladies and gentlemen, we did not, Brooke is extremely more organized than I am. I had the privilege to be on her podcast, and I felt, look, I like to I love this is not rehearsed, so let me just say it there. So I would love your thoughts on that. Like, what is the common denominator, the common thread, whatever other way you want to analyze that statement.
Our mutual friend Dan Moore has a great saying that I have taken from him, and it's when you see people trying to write a check out of their own operational inefficiencies, that's a problem. When you can actually, had a group that just came on board and they are so phenomenal in a lot of different ways. But also in particular is they're the first one to say, hey, we screwed up. How can we get better? We've looked and listened to this. We've looked at our process, and not a lot of people will look at the process. The first thing they want to do is say, oh, it's your fault. It's finger pointing. And while it may actually be XYZ's person's fault, before you go and point fingers, seek to understand. I have been in that position multiple times where I may have had some history with XY company or person or whatever, and it's really difficult to separate the feelings out of that, right? And so going and say, oh, I've actually been surprised of like, okay, help me understand why you're doing this. Like, because on paper, this doesn't make sense. So help me understand. And there are times that I've definitely been wrong. That won't be the first or last time. Other times I go, okay, now I understand why you're doing this. So we'll take it a different direction. Oh, you're getting a kickback from this. That's why you have that little widget on your website. So let's have a talk about that. Okay. The number of times I've had dealers come to me on that same topic of like, hey, so we have some random tools on our site that we don't know about.
Whoa. Let me back up real quick. Who's getting the kickback? The deal, and maybe I shouldn't go down this road. The dealer's getting a kickback from the vendor? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
No names, please. No names.
No,
please,
that's a conversation offline.
Yeah. No names, please. We're going to keep this.
Yes.
This going to keep this pure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. And I get that question a lot when an owner or whomever will say, "Hey, we had so and so in here before, and we have all this stuff on our site," or they're there. And when I can start seeing someone push back on me, when I know it is a vendor that is full out taking advantage of the dealer, there are very few things that will send me off because I just don't stand for that. So you get this side of Brooke. When someone tries to screw over a dealer, and whether you're a client or not, that is Mama Bear comes out, to say the least. And it's like, no, I'm going to put you in your place real quick, and I dare you to challenge me on this one. So yes, so you have to go through and say, okay, why is this happening? And there are enough, we can get off that topic, but looking at it from a leadership standpoint is putting the people first. And that is so big. When you put your employees first, what's going to happen then? Oh, wait, now they're happier. Oh, wait, now they're going to be better to the client themselves. Throwing a pizza party when you just made $8 trillion is not putting your people first. Looking to say, how can we do better as an organization? Surrounding yourself with people that are a lot smarter than you, and that you're okay being, hey, that's not accurate. You'll be okay being told no, but yet so many times you do have on paper very successful companies, but all they've done is surround themselves with people that tell them how awesome they are, which We all like hearing that, don't be wrong, but we need someone in our ear to be like, you're off track right now, Brooke. Let's rein it in. Let's look at a little different direction.
You know, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I was talking to Chris Hunsicker yesterday on a podcast. He wrote the book Unstoppable Culture, and there's, you know, it doesn't matter how many guests that I have the privilege to have on Tim Talks. It doesn't matter how many conversations. The successful. This is what I. And listen, no matter which side of the fence you're on, listening today, it's amazing that the most successful operators in the country, they're confident, but they're the most humble. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that pour into their people. They're the ones that take coaching well. And I'm not being ugly here. I'm just taking, and I will not say, but it's I use this example. I work with dealers. We work with dealers that sell 700 to 1,000 cars a month. And 100 out of 100 times when I call these dealers or I want to set up a meeting, I want to have a conversation, they are there to answer the phone. What can we do better? It's the dealers that are selling 30 cars a month that are the smartest people in the room. You know, that there was an old saying I saw on Instagram, broke people have all the answers. You know, I mean, I'm not being ugly, but think about it. Think about your friends that, you know, sit there and criticize, and maybe we're going off track here, but guys, if that is going on in your life, the biggest, I mean, how many people have to be on here, you know, Patrick Abad, the Kevin Deutsches, the David Longs, it goes on and on and on. These guys that have taken dealerships, completely turned them around, and then incredible executive coaches like Chris from yesterday, all saying the same thing. I think it might be time to lean in, but unfortunately, I really believe that the biggest, I'll call it evil, but the biggest detriment to any human being, and especially in any dealership, is one word, and that's pride. That's pride and insecurity, because we've always done it this way. You know, my heart is that people would understand. You know, I start my day with 3 words. Number one, with gratitude, with a state of quiet time and gratitude, and I'm thankful for the little things, and I think that sets the tone. Those are 3 words. But I always say that just for today, I'm going to treat people as though they're more important than me. And I think as leaders, if we it's easy to say, but if we truly do that, I dare you. I double dog dare you to try that and mean it for a week. And that week turns into a month. And all of a sudden, culture starts changing and your people are, I'm telling you. So, and again, I chased a rabbit there, but I'll tell you that now it's Brooke to add to the list of people saying the exact same thing. So, you know, hopefully we can get better. You know, tell me
on that note real quickly. So like I go through, you've been on the show before, like you choose your topic. It's whatever the guest wants to speak about. Fantastic. We're good to go. And I did just pulled the list of topics for the last probably year. And once again, everyone gets to choose their own topic. The number one topic that was chosen, leadership. And which is kind of surprising, because I'm like, we talk about a little of everything on the show, as you know, but the number one topic that was chosen time and time and time again was about leadership.
You know, it's amazing. And a lot of people talk about it, and there's a lot of great leaders out there. And the word culture is thrown around a lot. A lot. But then you actually go into their stores and you can, you know, cut the tension with a knife. And I'm not naming, I'm just saying. Or we do have a lot of people that might post certain things, how great their dealership is and this and that and online. And then you talk to, you know, I think, and you hit the nail on the head earlier. And guys, look, I have been humbled over the last several years. I've been punched in the face. You know, the great philosopher Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. I've been punched in the face. I mean, probably harder than a lot of people. But, and so have you. We all go through stuff in life. We all go through stuff. And sometimes, and I will say this, I will say that I have learned more through getting punched in the face and the failures than I ever have or had of reading my own press clippings and car nows growing and people want Tim to speak. Look, I have learned more about, and I'll tell you this is a trick that I have programmed my brain to think. Because sometimes in life, and I don't even know how we got here, but we're getting ready to have quiet
We're
time
rolling
sermon.
with it, man. We're rolling with it.
We're going to have quiet time sermon with Tim. But I'm just telling you, hopefully, and every time I talk, I tell people what I'm struggling with. What I'm struggling with. And ironically, it hits somebody in the crowd and I get pulled over and saying, hey, I'm struggling because I think we all struggle with similar things. You know what I mean? But something that was game changing to me when bad things continue to happen in your life, like me, my house burnt down in 2018. My mom had passed away. My dad had a stroke. We could go on and on and on. And instead of feeling sorry for ourselves, which I did, right? Woe is me. Why is this? I'm doing everything right. I'm loving on people. I'm giving. I'm doing. Why is it? The mindset changes. What can I learn through this situation? Mm-hmm. How can I be better? And that is when you take a step into that next generation leader, that next generation human that becomes a better mommy, that becomes a better daddy, that becomes a better significant other, that becomes another partner, a better vendor, a better, you name it. Mm-hmm. But it all starts with humility, and it all starts with I'm going through this trial, I'm going through this, and it sucks, and I don't like it, and it might not be fair, but what can I learn through it to be a better human? Let's talk about, just to transition a little bit, let's talk about, you've grown, and it's hard for people to say great things about themselves, but you've grown very, very, I would argue in the last several years very quickly. And I teased before, we like to have fun and laugh and joke, but like everybody knows you. I say everybody, I'm sure it's 16,000 dealers. I'm sure there's people that don't know you, but in all seriousness, do you think, and I'm answering your own question. Like, I love the facts, not feelings, because there's so much freaking BS out there. So ladies and gentlemen, dealers, if you want somebody to consult with you and come alongside with you, I'm going to put her link, and we're not done yet, but I'm just going to go ahead while I'm out here. Guys, behind the camera, we're going to get Brooke's link, her website, on how people can get a hold of her. Because I personally think it's the no BS. It's the, look, here's what it is. This isn't performing. This is wrong. You need to fix it. And if you want me to tell you how pretty you are, then you need to hire somebody else.
I'm not the person.
I'm not the person. So I can assess things. Is that it? You've grown a lot. Is that what you've been hanging your hat on? You tell me. I don't know.
Yeah. The whole thing, like when I first started, I was always behind the camera. I was never in front of the camera. I wasn't really comfortable, but I was like, hey, you need to do videos. And I was like, Brooke, you probably need to maybe practice what you preach, because you're talking all the time, you do videos. So when I first started the podcast, I had never listened to a podcast in my life. I didn't know. My entire Google search was like podcasts and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like trying to figure stuff out, going bare bones. And I had a dear friend come on the show, and she's like, is it video or is it audio only? I was like, I didn't know you could do both. Mm-hmm. And so then my entire Google search is how to do that. But what I found is that, one, turn on the camera, it does help. And you see, I go back, those first few episodes were rough. They were rough. But when I did this, the whole point of turn on the camera, two things. One, if I can help one person, then I've done my job. I will never turn on the camera and be on social media if I cannot be real to myself. Anyone that knows me is I am very, very, who I am is who I am. You like me, don't like me, I'm fine with that. There was a pretty dark period in my life where I just literally went off all social media completely for a good 6 months, because I'm like, I'm not going to put on that fake face. Not going to happen. And then the third thing is like, okay, what can I do to help move the automotive industry forward? And that has been, under facts, not feelings, it always says moving automotive forward. And there's a reason for that, because you can have a lot of shows out there and they can be very successful. And kudos to everyone that does one. It is not an easy thing financially, time, everything. It's a lot of freaking work. For me, I was like, it's not about the followers. It's not about, it's how did I help someone? It's the text I get later on to say, hey, I didn't even think of it that way. Thank you so much. That's what it does. And so from there, who I am, we have similar stories with our mothers. And so my mother, when I was raised, was very much at the end of every day was, okay, tell me the best thing that happened today. And then find a way to serve. So every day was, what could I have done better, today that I can do tomorrow? So going through that is continually just serving other people. And whether that's a kind smile, like I sign off every show, like find a way to serve today. There's a reason for that, whether it's in automotive, whether it's in daily life, whatever it's going to be. So that all transitioned to the company itself, which I think I'm probably more known well from the podcast and the show, but I actually do have a company, but to say, okay, how else can I help the dealer? Because I've been in that seat where you're getting 300 freaking emails a day. You're getting another 100 phone calls and then being, oh, by the way, have 8 hours of meeting, and then somehow do your work. Like, no. And it really, for me, the more I can see that I can help the dealer, whether it's understand the gobbledygook, to translate that data geeky stuff into like, here's the actionable items and how you actually help with that. Do you really need to be on 17 more vendor calls? No, you don't. Let us do that for you. So I've just tried to find more and more ways to see how my reach can help other people. And that may come across as, oh, that's cliche. That's fine if you believe that. For me, that is at my core is, how can I better myself from today? How can I serve people more and just better the people around me? Did I leave people better than I found them?
Yeah, and I think you are. You're absolutely doing that because I hear the stories, and I'm encouraged about what you're doing. As we land the plane, what do you want to tell that maybe it's a new marketing director? In fact, I talked to a couple of them yesterday. Brand new marketing directors just sat in the chair. What would you? And it doesn't even have to be a marketing director. Maybe it's a new person in the space, but they have the opportunity to make decisions for the dealership, whether that's tech decisions or process decisions or setting the call. Like I'll give that question to you to land the plane. Like, what would you speak into him or her if you had the opportunity to?
I think probably two things. One, to not lose your voice. I believe that so often, especially as a female in this industry, is that you can get drowned out real quick, and you've got to remember to when to say something. And there are times that you're going to pick your battles. I get that, but overall, don't be afraid to speak up, because that automatically, and especially as a female, is that you can look pretty and that's good for you. If you don't have the backing of the knowledge, then you're not going to get as far. So please make sure you do your research, you do your education, but speak up. The second thing for me, especially, is to surround yourself with people, good people, whether it's at a conference, whether it's, hey, and sometimes it's like, I'll get the question, well, how do I even, well, reach out to me. I'll hook you up with whoever you need. If it's, you need a buddy for a conference or you have a question about XYZ product, you do not have to be a client of mine. I am more than willing to help however I can, but you've got to surround yourself with people that are looking out for your best interest, that will say your name in a crowded room when you're not there. And then please don't lose your voice and just stay true to you. There's, as cliche as it is to say that there's no one else. I mean, everyone else is taken, be yourself. It's true though, because if I go and try to be something I'm not, then that person sees it as that, then you're just lying to yourself. So just please be true to yourself. Well, now hopefully you guys in just these few minutes find out why Brooke is one of my favorite people. Truly adore her. She is truly my. I would, buddy's a good word. Like you're my friend, but I mean, you're just. Yeah. I just wish more people were like you. And on that, I'll land the plane. We have some badass women in automotive. Like I've just had seriously, and they keep coming. And hopefully, I can remember in the service drive, or even still at the Lexus store and even the Toyota store, some of the ladies, and then I had ladies on sales floor just dominated. If they could filter the noise and the abuse and everything else, and this is a decade ago, and it's even better now. You guys do have a voice, and there's so many. And if I start mentioning names like I did the other day on a podcast, I'll get in trouble. But, just look at the last 3 or 4 or 5 podcasts we've done, have just been incredible ladies that are doing just incredible work in this space. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking a few minutes just to get to know Brooke a little better. She's my dear friend, and I just love what she's doing. If you want more information, she does have a business. She can help you. She can look at what you're spending and where you're spending it. And to her point, she doesn't take any money from any vendors or anybody, so she can stay agnostic, and she can truly give you her unbridled opinion about what can work for your store. Brooke, Brick. Yeah. Brick. What is it? What is this? What is this? Anchorman? Back to you, Brick. I love lamp.
Yeah, I love lamp. What are you going with? I better stop. Wow, Brick killed a guy.
Brick
Killed a guy with a
Triton.
trident. Okay, guys. See, now you can see you can't get us together for very, very too long. But are you going to MRC, by the way?
Of course I am.
Okay. That was a stupid question, so I'll see you next month.
Yes.
And Pash got a plug on the podcast, but
Yeah, thanks,
thank you for being my buddy. Thank you for being true. There's a lot of people out there that maybe aren't as true, as agnostic, and truly wanting to serve the dealer and cutting through the noise. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. As always on Tim Talks, we say no one is smarter than everyone. We're just going to keep getting better together. We'll see you next time.